Sometimes a single event can just change everything. What if one late night, fueled by a bit of curiosity and AI, could completely flip the script on how we build products? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. A new kind of role that's popping up in the age of AI, and it all started with one wild experience. And it all starts with this number right here, 60 euros. Seems kind of random, right? But that's how much a product manager, Ozkan Yilmaz, spent on AI credits one night. Just 60 bucks. But what he got back for that tiny investment, well, it was enough to make him question everything he thought he knew about building products. And here's the kicker. In just those 8 hours, he did what would normally take a full team almost 2 months of work. Think about that for a second. That's not just working a little faster. That is a complete game changer, a total paradigm shift. And that one night sent him down this rabbit hole of redefining what a single person, armed with the right tools, could actually build. So this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. If AI can give one person that kind of superpower, what does that mean for the way we've always structured our teams? The classic roles we've relied on for so long. Are those lines between product manager, designer, and engineer starting to get really, really blurry? All right, so let's dig into this. That 60 euro revelation, it was so much more than just a speed boost. This was about discovering that AI could literally rewrite the rulebook for how we create things from scratch. Okay, but to really get why this is such a big deal, we need a little context. Let's take a quick look at how things have traditionally been done. So for a long time, the gold standard has been something called the product trio. You've probably heard of it. It's got your product manager who figures out the what and the why. Then you've got your designer making sure it's a great experience for the user. And finally, the engineer who actually builds the thing. It's a solid model for sure. But, and it's a big but, having these specialized roles often means a lot of handoffs. And that can really slow things down and create friction. Now, people have tried to fix this. One cool idea is value pairs, where you get these dynamic duos, like a PM and a designer, teaming up for specific tasks. And that's great for optimizing how teams work together. But what our guy Ozkan stumbled upon, that's a whole different kind of evolution. It's not about better teams. It's about what a superpowered individual can now do all on their own. So his journey with AI had these distinct phases. At first, it was like magic, right? Using no-code tools and just telling the AI what he wanted in plain English. Then he got curious and started looking under the hood, literally having conversations with the code using AI. After that, he leveled up to working directly in the command line, still with AI help. And today, he's at a point where his entire product management workflow, breaking down big ideas, epics into smaller stories, can be mapped directly onto these AI coding agents. It's pretty wild. And this whole evolution, this massive leap in what one person can do, well, it gives rise to a whole new identity. And listen, this isn't about a new job title you're going to see on LinkedIn tomorrow. It's more of a mindset, a new way of building things. This is where the product engineer comes in. So what is a product engineer exactly? Well, think of it this way. At their heart, they are still a product manager, but they've layered on the ability to actually build and execute, and they use AI as this incredible force multiplier. This is someone who can take an idea all the way from a napkin sketch to a working prototype completely on their own. The lines between those old roles, they're practically gone. Okay, so what do you need to be one? First off, the foundation is still rock-solid product management. You absolutely have to understand your users and have a solid strategy. That's not negotiable. Then you layer on some key tech skills, understanding system architecture, knowing your way around Git and GitHub. But here's the surprising part. Being a coding genius isn't a must-have. It's more of a nice-to-have. The real critical new skill, it's knowing how to talk to the AI. It's about learning how to ask the right questions to get what you need out of the code base. And if you're looking for proof, look no further. At a company hackathon, our product engineer built a whole app called Lesswise, a worksheet generator for teachers. He built a fully functional MVP, solo, in just one weekend, 20 hours. A typical team of 5 people, they would have needed 2, maybe even 3 months to get to the same point. I mean, that's not just a little better, that's a mind-blowing productivity leap. Okay, but let's pump the brakes for a second. This all sounds amazing, right? But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. As the author himself says, this sounds better than it is. There are some very real struggles and hard limits you hit when you're working this way. First up, what he calls CI/CD hell. For anyone who doesn't know, CI/CD is basically the automated pipeline that gets your code from your computer out into the world. He got stuck for hours debugging a single configuration file, a YAML file, and the AI couldn't help him. It's a perfect example of where that deep, specialized DevOps knowledge is still absolutely critical. Next, he ran into the migration mystery. You know the classic developer problem. It works on my machine. The app was fine locally, but as soon as he pushed it to production, it broke. The reason was a subtle database issue. He didn't understand the concept of a database migration, which is how you safely update a live database. It's another huge reminder that you can't just hand off all the deep architectural thinking to an AI. And the last one he calls the SSO wall. Getting standard sign-on to work with Google or Microsoft, no problem. The AI had tons of data and examples for that. But trying to integrate with a custom proprietary system? Nope. He hit a wall, and he knew it instantly. That was a job for a senior specialist. And that's a huge part of this, knowing where your own capabilities and the AI's end. All of this brings up a really tough, really important question. If we have more people working as these solo product engineers, what does that mean for the next generation? How do junior developers or junior PMs actually learn and grow? So much of that learning comes from mentorship, from working side by side with senior experts. It's a massive challenge we're going to have to figure out. But hey, if you're listening to this and feeling inspired, if you're thinking, I want to try this, the good news is there's a pretty clear path you can follow to get started on this journey yourself. It's basically a 4-phase journey. Phase 1, just dip your toes in, play with some no-code AI tools, taste the magic, and see what's possible. Phase 2, look under the hood, export the code from those tools, and use AI to chat with it to really understand what's going on. Now, Phase 3 is the most important. Build something real. Solve a real problem for yourself or someone you know. You're going to struggle, especially with deployment, but that struggle is where you'll learn the most. And finally, Phase 4 is about going pro, studying things like security and pairing up with senior engineers to build something truly complex. Now, as you can see, this isn't something you're going to master in a weekend. It takes a real commitment of time. You start small, just a few hours here and there, but as you move up the ladder from just playing around to building serious functional apps, that time investment definitely grows. The key here is dedication. So we'll leave you with this one last pretty provocative idea from the author. The programming language of the future is English. Just think about that for a minute. If we can start building incredibly complex software just by describing what we want in plain language, what does that even mean for the future of coding? It kind of suggests that the most valuable skill won't be writing perfect syntax, but being able to clearly, precisely, and effectively communicate your intent. It's a huge idea to chew on, as these tools just keep getting better and better.